Reynoso, and today about something that has been coming up quite a bit on Threads when I post things like "gay Christian is not an oxymoron" or almost anything about gay marriage, gay Christianity, whatever. Um, People will come on and say things like, well, let me back up. The thing I posted, I think it was this morning or yesterday, I'm not sure which, something about Jesus could change um, a person from being gay to being straight if he wanted to, but he doesn't. Um, it doesn't happen. I know people who've been gay for over 50 years, and they prayed for most of that time that God would change their sexuality because they want to be straight like everybody else, and it didn't work. So if that's the case, then what's going on? People and anyway, I get these comments like, well, Jesus doesn't change them because because people have free will. I say, and I agree. I agree we have free will. I know some people don't, but that's a whole other topic. We're not going to get into that. But people who say, oh, yeah, Jesus doesn't change somebody's desires or whatever because they are free to choose them. And I would say that is mostly true, although I have heard stories of people who struggled with, let's say, cigarettes. A lady I knew couldn't give it up. And she tried and tried and tried. And finally she was like, Lord, I can't do it. Just take it. And the next day, no desire. It was gone. That happens, okay? It doesn't happen for everyone, but sometimes it does. But it has never happened for anyone who's gay. Now, can Jesus help them to lose the desire to be promiscuous, to go out to a gay bar and hook up? Yeah, and I think that does happen. I think that, I believe it does. Hi, Rizzy. I believe it does happen when people turn their life over to God, their hearts change. I know I've experienced personal change where Jesus has changed me, well, that's a whole other story, and I will talk about it one of these days. I definitely will talk about it one of these days. But back to this topic. When people say that God doesn't change a person from being gay to being straight because we have free will, what they're actually saying is that being gay is a choice, and these people are choosing to be gay. That could not be further from the truth. And let's give an analogy that I think really illustrates this well. I'm right-handed, okay? This is my right hand. If I were to, I can write left-handed, very sloppily, but I can, right? I have an uncle who was left-handed, and he wrote with his left hand. There are other people that I know that are left-handed, especially if they're older, who would be forced, in a way, to make, how would I put this? To write with their right hand in school. It used to be common practice that the understanding was that the right hand was good. In fact, words like upright, they have that sense of straight, right, proper. And in some languages, the left actually comes from the word left in like Italian comes from the same root as the word sinister. Siniestra is the word in Italian for left. siniestra, sinister. They come from the same Latin root, because it was assumed that people who were left-handed were somehow bad. And, it is a small percentage of the population. I'm not sure what percentage, but obviously the vast majority of people are right-handed. And it used to be that they would make a kid learn to write with their right hand, even if they were left-handed. And to the point where they might tie their hand to a chair for the school day, so they couldn't use their left hand. And we think of that kind of thing as rather barbarous nowadays, right? Kind of cruel. We would never do that to a kid nowadays. But yet, that is what we do to gay people. Oh, you need to be straight. If you can't hack celibacy, if you can't be celibate and not sleep with men, well then I guess you have to get married. If you feel like you need to have a companion, go find a woman, and let's just say that doesn't work. It is, unfortunately, all it does is it creates a real problem for both partners in that marriage, but for both of them, honestly. The woman is always going to feel like she's a little less than. She's never going to be able to satisfy him the way that she would be able to with a normal man, a straight man. And the gay man is always going to feel like something's missing. He cannot give everything that he would give, because it's like, think about sleeping with your best friend. They're your best friend, right? Or think about, I heard an example once. There was this pastor. He was talking to a young lady who was a lesbian. I am not gay, no. And I'm talking about this because I have very close friends that are, and I will be sharing more of my story later, but I am not gay. Anyway, this young lady was sitting and talking to this pastor, and she was a lesbian, and he was trying to understand her. He was not affirming at the time, but he was trying to understand her situation. And so she said, "You see that guy over there?" She's like, "Imagine that you had to fall in love with him." They're like in a coffee shop or something, some random dude. She's like, "Imagine you had to fall in love with him and kiss him and go to bed with him and sleep with him. How would you feel?" And he, as a straight man, was like, "Ew, no." Sorry, I had a call come in. Sorry about that. Anyway, next time I will turn it on Do Not Disturb. But anyhow, he is like, "No, I cannot imagine even thinking about falling in love with a guy." She's like, "That's how I feel as a lesbian. I just am not attracted to guys. The idea of being with a guy disgusts me." And he's like, "Oh." He hadn't thought of it. So I don't want to make this video too long. I've had more people, and some of them come and gone, and I know there's 4 people that it says 5, okay, that are still here. And thank you for sticking this out if you came on early. But just to recap, being gay is not a choice. It's kind of like being left-handed. You can pretend to not be left-handed and try to write with your right hand, but you will always be left-handed. You can pretend not to be gay and marry someone of the opposite sex and create a family and try to make it work, but odds are it's not going to work. So that is what I had to say, and I hope that was helpful. And thank you for your comments, everybody. And I'd appreciate a like on this video. Subscribe if you would like to hear more about this kind of stuff. My passion is for the LGBTQ community, and also for especially those who are in the Christian community as well. The intersection of those two is kind of where I work. So I would love to connect with you more. Bye.